Good morning, everybody out there at Stitch Nation. Blaine Austin here at Stitch International, and welcome to our live show today. Y'all say good morning to my sidekick, Rockin' Roger.
Hey,
Roger.
good morning, Stitch Nation.
So, Roger, got a great show lined up for everybody today. And
yes, we do.
I know that you went back to Mexico fishing, and you caught some fish.
I caught a yellowtail, 26-pounder. I don't have a picture ready, but I went 4 trips in a row and skunked. I didn't catch a fish, and finally it worked out. So,
well, I've got a fishing trip on my own planned. We got some family coming in. So Michelle's on her side of the family, her niece and family's coming in a couple of weeks, I think, and we're going to go fishing and go to the Cardinals baseball game. We're going to do all kinds of stuff.
That sounds like a great time.
Full weekend plan. So yeah, looking forward to that. So speaking of looking forward to stuff, man, I tell you what, I am looking forward to all the shows we've got coming up in just the next month or so. We've got so many good shows coming up. Now, let me tell everybody about our dates of things we've got going. But before I get too deep into that, let me just say some shout outs out there to the Stitch Nation watching today. We got our good friend Linda Brooks from South Carolina watching this morning. So, hey, Linda, how are you? Jane Jarvis up in Pennsylvania watching today. So good morning, Jane. Jill Sweet, our buddy up in Wisconsin. So, hey, Jill, she's always tuning in. We really appreciate that. You know me. Everybody knows you know me by now. You know me up in New York is watching. I think, are you still on vacation? She's been on a vacation for a couple weeks, seems like. I thought the last time I saw, she said she was on a vacation. Blue Baby or Bobby. Is it Bobby, baby? Roger, you're going to have to interpret that for me. Blue Bobby. Babby. That's it. Name. Blue Babby. She's down in Blue Babby's in Alabama. Blue Babby, that's it. You know, like Babby. Rita Diaz, our friend in Texas. Good morning. How are you doing? Diane Morris up in Massachusetts. Good morning to you. Sonny King, he's down in my old stomping grounds in Louisiana. We got our good friend Norma Kaufman out in San Marcos, California this morning watching. She had to get up pretty early, just like Roger. Roger had to get up early this morning. And then we have our good friend Cindy King is always watching. So, hey, good morning, Cindy. So I got to tell everybody, if y'all win a prize that we're giving away on the show, excuse me, if y'all win a prize on the show, take a picture of yourself with your prize and send it to us. I would love to share some pictures. And but anyway, let me give y'all some dates. So on next Wednesday, we have Emily Dunlap coming in, and she's with Laura Star. So we're going to talk all about Laura Star, the steaming iron systems. And what is so awesome about the Laura Star is that dry, cool steam. And you can't, if you just, like most steamers, it burns you a little bit. This will not burn you. So that's awesome. Remind y'all on May the 6th, somebody just was from Arkansas. I just saw that. That's my old stomp. That's where I grew up. Who is that? Oh, that's Roz, our buddy Roz. And I'm trying to remember where she was from. Roz, you have to tell us. I think, weren't you from Texarkana? Because we were talking, Roger, if you remember, we were talking about the road that goes right down the middle of Texarkana. If you're on the east side, you're in Arkansas. If you're on the west side, you're in Texas.
Yes.
Remember that?
I remember being amazed by that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you if I'm go out of state and go get a burger. Just go across the street.
I'll walk across the street.
I think that was Roz, maybe. Roz, let us know the town. I think that you're the one. So what was the one right before that? And watching you and Carly Bell class at the same time.
Hi,
That,
Carl.
that's a Linda. All right. Carla Bell's our good buddy too.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my mom.
Ah.
Hey, Mom.
Hi, Miss Marietta.
She's down in Bono, Arkansas. So remind y'all, on May the 6th, we will not have a show because we will be in Chicago, or I will be in Chicago at the H&H show. And we're going to have a SWF booth there with embroidery machines. So we'll be there. So we won't have a show on May 6th. However, May 13th, we're going to have my birthday bash. We always do this every year. And my birthday's on May the 11th. So the May 13th is the bash. And we've got just a ton of people going to come by and say hi. And we're going to get them to give us their pro tips. Give us a pro tip, and then we may play a little trivia with them. We may do all kinds of stuff, but we have got Angela Wolf, Joanne Banco, Jane Klaus. We have Reen Wilcoxon from Embroidery Garden coming, Dawn Chase from Creative Applique coming, and Becky Thompson from Power Tools with Thread going to stop by. So we got a great lineup, Roger, of 6
amazing
superstars going to stop by. And so I'm going to get them to share a pro tip when they come on. And then we'll have some fun with them. We'll have to come up with some kind of trivia to ask them, see how well they know me or know you. We'll do something. We'll figure something out. But that'll be fun. And then on May the 20th, we're going to have Grace Sewing in here. And then May 27th, right now well, this is not, I guess shouldn't say it's in stone yet, but we've got slated right now is Iron Away. It's coming in. And if you are not familiar with Iron Away, it's called Premier Storage Systems. And Iron Away is those folding ironing boards that you just open a door and they fold out of the wall. And they're pretty cool. I had one of those at one time back when I had a regular type of iron. And I bought that and had a regular iron thinking that was going to help me figure out how to iron, and it didn't. So then I went to a big steam generation Rowenta iron with a big ironing board, Roger. Thought that was going to make me a great ironer. It didn't. I bought a Jiffy steamer.
Oh, see, now
that changed my life. I mean, ironing actually is better. I think it gets the clothes looking better. But if you don't know how to do it, I mean, steam, I don't have to press it. I just put the steam against it.
I iron to put other wrinkles on the other side.
That's what happens with me. I would just, no matter what I mean, and I finally, after a while doing dress shirts all the time, I got where I could finally get a dress shirt, halfway decent. But then I just started taking them to the dry cleaners. But that's so expensive to do that. And, if you have the right equipment, it really makes a huge difference. And I know now Michelle, my wife, she steams everything that she has. I mean, she has a rolling rack. She goes in there and she'll steam for an hour, steaming all of her clothes and things that she gets ready. And then so much faster, she says, than ironing, and a lot easier on her. But I know some people, they're great at ironing. And one thing about ironing in our industry is when you're doing your, different things, projects with clothes that you're making or quilts, it makes it look so much more finished. And so that's what we're going to talk about when they come in, Laura Star, how you can make your projects look so much more finished. So anyway, we got that going on. So naturally today, guys, we're going to do some giveaways at the end of the show. So if you want a chance to win, all you have to do is make a comment, ask questions. But we got Aubrey Hartman going to be here today from Butler Robotics. And Roger, can you put that overlay back up with the robot? Look at that, y'all. Now, this is the robots that Roger and I
That's what I
This is what
envision.
I'm looking forward to. I want to have one of these, Roger, that will do my quilting, my embroidery, my sewing,
Yes, and my
and clean
ironing.
my house, cook my food. Is that our future, really?
Maybe one day.
Well, you and I were talking about this last week, like all these AI robots and
Oh,
things. I'm
yes.
like, that's what actually gave me the idea for this overlay. Is like, we got to find a robot that's quilting.
I
So we
like
made it.
Elon.
It kind of, I thought it kind of looked like Iron Man a little bit, but I had to find a cool one. But yeah, this was, you know, that maybe, but you know, before we get too crazy in the future, we're going to show you how to use robots today. But hey, I got some trivia for you, Roger. Y'all remember last week we had a winner. It was Mountain Professor.
Oh, yes, yes.
Found out what Mountain Professor means.
Okay, please do tell.
He sent an email and said that he was a teacher and he had a cabin in the mountains.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
There you go, Mountain Professor.
That's a goal I want. I want a mountain cabin by the lake where I could fish every day.
That wouldn't be a bad gig, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Not too bad. I think I could probably enjoy that too.
Yeah, me too.
I got to have a flying field close by. That's the only thing. So I can fly. But other than that, I'd like to be in a cabin on a lake and fish most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Roger, speaking of robotics, we're going to talk a little bit some cool stuff today. But we've got a treat for y'all. We've got Aubrey Hartman here, and I think many of y'all know Aubrey. She is just fantastic quilter, and she's with Quilt Easy, which is the producer of Butler Robotics, and she is I don't know, I'm gonna have to ask her. I think she's a sales manager for them, but she does all their education demos and things. And here's the great thing about it today. We've got Lindsay, who's also with Quilt Easy, and she's going to be monitoring the chat. So today, if y'all have any questions during the time, during the show, you can ask them right there. And then Lindsay's going to actually tell, Aubrey at the real time, hey, here's the question. And she's going to answer it for you as soon as she sees it. So that's what's really cool. So y'all give a big Stitch Nation welcome to Aubrey Hartman. Hey, Aubrey.
Well, hello, Blaine. Hello, Stitch Nation. Hey, Roger.
Hey, I got to ask you a question. What is your official title? It's not national sales manager, but it's like a regional sales rep. What is it?
You know, it's flexible from day to day. I am a sales manager. I do education and training. I do a little bit of everything, as does everybody who works for Butler Robotics.
I know, my dealings have pretty much been with three of y'all, as John, you, and Lindsay, and for many, many years now. And I've just you do everything. So I'm like, okay, I forgot what your actual official title is, but I know that you do everything. Lindsay does everything. So so happy you are here today. And I tell you what, how did you like our robot quilting?
Well, I kind of want one of those to do my window cleaning and dusting. I don't need someone to quilt for me, but I need
You don't need anybody to do your quilt
around my house. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of dusting and window cleaning, so I want a robot for that.
All right, so everybody in the chat, tell us what you would do with what are we going to call him, Roger? We got to call him. Is it, it can't be R2D2, but it can't be Iron Man, but
I like Mr. Roboto.
Mr. Roboto. I like that too. So y'all tell us what you would do with your own Mr. Roboto and in the chat today, and let us know what you would do with it. What would you do with it other than windows and things, Aubrey?
I could use a little help cooking from time to time. I'm not a big fan of like cooking raw, like prepping raw meat and stuff. So if I could have like a sous chef out of my robot, I don't mind doing some of the cooking, but to chop up all the vegetables and prep the meat and all that kind of stuff, I'll go ahead and cook it if someone's doing the sous chef work for me. So
There you go.
maybe a kitchen helper. That sounds good.
You know what's funny about it? I'm anxious to see what people's going to say. You don't want it to do anything that you enjoy doing. So I know you enjoy quilting and all that. What I would have it doing is all the yard work, all the heavy lifting stuff. Just let the robot do it. Cleaning, yard work, whatever you can get it to do. I think that would be pretty cool. And but all the things you enjoy, you don't want that to take you away. So is it really going to be worth buying? They're saying they're going to sell for $50,000, $60,000 these personal robots. That's quite a bit of money for just being lazy.
Yeah, I think I'll just stick to doing all the work myself, I guess.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Well, hey, I know we got a lot to do today. We're going to do a table runner, so we're super excited about that. And you're going to talk a little bit about a nesting feature.
Yes.
That's a real hidden gem with the Butler Robotics. And the 3 that we have for long arms all have that nesting feature in there. Now the Prism, the Pulse, that is for the domestic machine, your home machine at home that you can put on one of those, like the Grace little portable frames. That one doesn't have that feature, but all the other 3 do. And so we're going to let you get going on that with the table runner. And then I'll come back here at the end. We're going to tell you all the pricing on everything. We've got some great prices on it today. And so you take it away, Aubrey.
All right. Thanks, Blaine. Well, it's so great to be here today with the Stitch Station. As Blaine said, we are going to work on a table runner today. And usually when I do live shows like this, I want to show as many features as I can that our robots have. But today I decided let's show one really great, really helpful feature, and it's going to be our nesting feature. And I know a lot of you are wanting to rely on robotics to do edge-to-edge quilting, and that's exactly what our project is going to be today. But before I get started, I want to just introduce the 3 long arm robots that we have available at Stitch It International for you. So there are 3 available. They are universal robots, so they can go on any long arm, any frame. You just contact Blaine's team, let them know which one is going to suit your needs and what long arm you have and what frame you have, and we will get you suited so that you can have automation at home yourself. Now, the 3 robots are going to have similar features, but as you go up in size of your display, you're also going to go up in features. And I have the displays to show you. So we're going to start here with our 8-inch display. Now, all of your displays come included with your purchase. They are full color touchscreen EPC displays. So they're like little computer brains in here. They're not just touch screens. They actually have little brains in here. And what's nice is that they are not reliant on batteries. They actually plug directly into the motor box that goes along with your system. So we're not charging batteries and worrying about power into our batteries. And did we remember to make sure it was plugged in and charging? You don't have to worry about that with this. This one here is our 8-inch, and this is your precision. This is going to be great for doing all of your edge-to-edge work, along with some custom quilting work. You're going to get 160 built-in patterns, but there's always space to add more patterns. So if you are a pattern shopper like I am, you can find patterns that you would like to go along with the particular quilts and add them into your display. We've got features like mirror image on this. You can resize, rotate, move, and scale your patterns. So that's this one. This is kind of our starter model. We're going to move up from here, and we're going to go to our 10-inch display, and this one is going to be your Prism model. This one's got a little bit bigger EPC display, so if you want a little bit more space to work on, you've got this size here. This one's where you start to get some of your more in-depth features for you to be able to do custom quilting. We've got features like using a quilt layout guide to pre-plan your edge-to-edge design. You have something called a crop feature, a text feature where you can quilt with letters and numbers. We've got auto scale features on here, so a little bit more spoiler features on here. You've seen me use some of these in the past on different shows that I've done and some of my online training videos. And I like to use my spoiler features to their greatest capacity. So this is a really great model for you if you want to dip your toe a little bit deeper in the automation world. This also comes with 260 preloaded patterns. So you've got a wide variety of things to work with getting started. And of course, you can add as many patterns as you'd like to this one as well. And then we go on up to what we're working with today. It is the Paramount. This is our top of the line. It's got a 12-inch full color EPC touchscreen display. It's got every bell and whistle that Butler has to offer, and it comes preloaded with over 500 patterns for you to start working with the capacity to add as many as you would like. And everybody's like, oh, well, how many is that? We actually have someone in our Butler world that has added over 10,000 patterns. Now, I am a pattern shopper, but I don't think I would ever get to that point where I would have added that many. I think at this point, I've probably added a few hundred to mine. And I know that I still haven't even used what's come on my model. So you can really get creative with picking out patterns that you'd like to quilt on your quilt top, but you've got the capacity to add as many as you would like. The file formats that you'd want to choose if you're adding more patterns to your robotic system with us would be QLI or DXF. So keep that in mind if you're a pattern shopper like me. Now I want to get started by setting up our edge-to-edge quilt top here. I want to turn you guys around just a little bit so you can see our pretty display screen here. And I'm going to try to go as slow as I can and not make anybody dizzy here, but I am not the best camera person. I'm the first to admit that. Now here on the screen, you can see that I've got a very pale, let me get you as close as I can. There we go. A very pale box outlined in orange. And that is just my safe area for the quilting space I want to work in. And that is representing my backing fabric. But we want to add the space that's going to be our quilt top. So the first thing I want to do is make sure I'm in layout here on the left-hand side of my display. And then we're going to add our quilt top space or our layout space by using our plus sign over here on the right. And when we do that, it says set the first point of our pattern box. And we've got a plus sign down here at the bottom right corner that we're going to be using. So I'm going to tilt you guys down and out of the way a little bit so you can see the table runner that we're going to be working with. So I did a navy blue, and this purple fabric that you see here, this pretty lilac, it actually has stars and anchors and little sailor knots in it. And so I thought that would be kind of a fun table runner for the coming summer months. So we are going to be quilting this today. Now we are setting that first point in our pattern box as it gave us the direction here on our Butler display. And the first point is going to be the top left corner of my table runner. So I'm going to come to the top left corner here of my table runner, and I'm going to hover just slightly outside that corner, just a little bit above it and a little bit outside that corner, not even a quarter of an inch. And I'm going to touch that plus sign I showed you in that bottom right corner. And the directions have changed on the display, and it says set the next point of the pattern box. Now I'm going to come to the right side of my table runner. I'm going to tilt you guys over so you can see where I'm at. And I am going to pick a point over here on the right side, just outside the edge here. You know, I'm going to turn off my light here so you might be able to see that better. There we go. Maybe you can see better without that little bit of glare. So I'm on the right side of my table runner, and I'm going to just choose a point so that I can kind of get a good width. I kind of want to do this in 2 swoops. So I'm going to check my check mark here on the display so that I can pick my second point. And when I do that, now let's swing you in, and I'm trying to get you out of the glare of my ring light as well. I know it's difficult to see screens like this through a camera. So what you can see now is I have one really big box, and inside that is a smaller but still really big box. The outside box was my safe area, which was my backing and batting, and the inside box is my table runner. I'm in full view where I can see both of my layout boxes. I can just click over to this little button here, and I can see each individual box now. So the one we're looking at is just my table runner. I can toggle back and forth between all of my different boxes. So if I used my arrow here and went back, this is going to be my safe area, my batting and backing. And then I could go back over and I can look at my table runner. So you can look at your different pattern boxes you have set up. And this is very helpful if you do custom quilting. You can look at all of your different little squares or triangles or hexagons that you might be quilting as you set up each individual one. So handy little buttons down here at the bottom of your display. All right, so now that we have our area that we want to quilt, I'm going to need to pick a pattern. And our patterns are located over here on the left-hand side of our display. Right above layout, we have a file folder that says patterns. If we highlight that, we get to see all of the patterns that are in our robotic system. And remember, I said that I have the Paramount that we're working with. So I've got over 500 patterns already loaded into my system. But I have added a whole lot of patterns in here. So I could be scrolling for days and days and days with everything that I've added. So instead of us scrolling to find the pattern that I want, I'm going to use this little search bar that's down here in the bottom left corner to find the pattern that I've picked out for our table runner. I'm going to touch on the search bar, and it's going to open up a keyboard for me where I can type in the name of the pattern that I'm looking for, or if I'm looking for a particular style of pattern, maybe in the wintertime, I'm looking to put snowflakes on something. I could type in the word snow, and it would find anything that had snow in the title of the pattern. So this is a great way to kind of narrow down your search instead of continuing to look and look and look through all of your different designs. I know the exact name that I'm looking for, and it's called Target. So I'm going to type in Target and hit my check mark. And we have this fun little squirrely pattern that I thought would be really nice on our table runner. It's not too complicated. It's not going to distract from the design of our table runner, but it's got cute little loops in it that represent a little bit of the knots that are on our fabric. So I thought this would go well. To select our pattern, we just touch on it with our finger and it'll highlight orange. And then we can add it to our layout box of our table runner by touching the green check mark over on the right. And when we do that, we've got one full repeat of our Target swirls in our layout box for our table runner. Now we need to add more to fill in our space here so that we have more design to quilt out across this whole big space. When we add a pattern, we automatically jump here on the left from patterns up into edit. And you might have noticed we're just working our way up the side of our screen. We were in layout, we went into patterns, now we're into edit. So we're just working our way up that left-hand side. That way you don't get confused on where you're going. in Edit, we can manipulate our pattern to make it look a little bit more like we'd want to. From here, we're going to go into our repeat feature. That's the feature right here at the very top of the inside ribbon. And when we highlight that, we can now add more repeats of our design to fill in our space. Since we need to repeat horizontally, let's just add a couple more of our design. So I don't want too dense of a design. This is a good sized table runner, but it's not super big. I don't want to go too heavy with the quilting. I just want it to be just a nice light table runner to put on the table out on the patio for the summer season. So I think this is probably enough for me, but we still have a lot of space to fill in here. So we need to go to our scale feature to change the size of this. So I'm going to come down from repeat to our scale feature. And that looks like a little square with arrows that come out the corners. And if we touch on that, we now have features available to change the size of our pattern. So we can use our slider bars, our pluses and our minuses. We could always set the size with a keypad. We've got lots of options available for us to change the size of our particular pattern to meet the needs of our layout box that represents our table runner. I'm going to just use our pluses and our minuses a little bit to change the size because not all features are available on all of our models. You get more features as you go up in models, so you're getting more features on your Paramount and your Prism than you are in your Precision. So I'm just going to start here with our vertical, and I'm just going to add a little bit of size here. And you can see it stretching down here on the bottom. And I just want to make sure my pattern meets the orange lines of my pattern box. So now I've stretched it here on the vertical, and it meets the size. Now we need to kind of stretch it on the horizontal to kind of fill in all our space here. So I can touch my plus sign and make it bigger this way. And this is going to take forever, you guys. How can we do this faster? I did mention that we have a full color touchscreen. So if I touch on my pattern, you might be able to see that there are little tiny colored circles that have appeared all around the pattern. The blue circles are my scaling nodes. And if I grab one of the blue circles with my fingers, I can stretch my design out very quickly to get me closer to the size that I need. Then I can fine tune it with my plus and minus signs to finish it off. And that works a little bit quicker. So you can use a combination of all your little buttons and your touch screen. There's a little green in the center. That little node there is going to work for you to move your design around in your space. And there's even a little red one off here on the corner, and that's going to work with your rotate feature. So you've got buttons along the side here for features, but you also have the ability to use the nodes as well to correspond with those features. So you can combine your touch screen as well as your buttons. And I think that's very cool. Some people are touch screen people, some people are button people. I'm a combination person. Okay, so our pattern is now filled in with our whole box. It's going to stretch across our whole quilt top area. So I think we're ready to stitch this out. To go into stitching mode, we go up to our final icon here up on the left-hand side, and it's our home button. It looks like a little house. When I touch on that, we're taken into another screen. And in this screen, we are ready to stitch. To stitch, we need to highlight our needle here over on the right-hand side. If we highlight it, we know we're stitching. If it's not highlighted, it's just going to trace over the design, but it won't actually be in stitch mode. So we need to make sure we're highlighted. Then we need to touch our little green button up here to go. And when we do that, we start getting lots of directions from our robotic system telling us what to do. Following your directions is very important because that keeps everything in order and we know what's happening at all times. Our first direction is telling us that our machine is going to move to the start of our pattern in our pattern block, and we need to double check that our needle is in the up position. So I always double check that my needle's up, because if for some reason it's down in our fabric, when the robotic system takes over, it doesn't know your needle's down and it could move your machine and you could accidentally end up tearing your fabric. So I always verify my needle. And when it says it's going to move to the start of our pattern, your pattern has a little green circle at the beginning of it for the start of your pattern and a little red box at the end of it for where the pattern's going to stop. So that way you kind of know where your machine's going to move to. So we're going to move all the way down to here when we touch our green check mark. So it's going to think for a minute, and it is taking off to its starting point. All right, now from here, I'm going to kind of come into place. And I'm going to read the directions that are happening to you on the display, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing with my hands. The first direction says do a single stitch with your quilting machine. So my needle up down button is here on my left handlebar, so I'm going to do a single stitch. I'll touch the check mark that's in the middle of my display. And when I do that, the directions change on my screen and it says pull up the bobbin thread, then press OK. So I can move my machine out of the way a little bit and pull my bobbin thread up to the surface. And now I have my top thread and my bobbin thread. I can touch my check mark because I did that. The machine's now going to center back into place over that starting point. My directions have changed again. It says cycle the needle to lock my stitches. Now, some people don't like to lock their stitches. They want to bury their threads in their quilt. If you're one of those people, you can just hit the check mark and go on. I like to lock my threads into place, so I'll use my needle up down button and cycle my needle 3 times. That's just what I'm comfortable doing. You do what you're comfortable doing. I'll touch my check mark. And my final set of directions I get says turn on the stitching on your long arm, and then your machine will start moving after you press OK. So my stitching on my long arm is here on my right handlebar. So I'm going to turn my stitching on, and then I'm going to touch the check mark in the center, and my machine's going to start running out my pattern. Now you can see that it's just going on its own. And we're going to let that run for a little bit. I did time this out some. It does take a few minutes. See if I can get you a little bit closer for you to see. And I know it's loud, you guys. Nobody said long arm quilting was a quiet exercise. So we're at the top swirl. We do have a speed control on the display. So if you want to slow it down or speed it up, there are little arrows above a number here. And so with that number, I'm running at 40 or 40% of the robot's maximum capacity. If I wanted to slow it down, I could press my down arrow. If I wanted to speed it up, I could touch my up arrow. I think we're pretty good where we are, so I'm going to let that go. Okay, I think we have a question, so let me get that. Gotcha. Okay, so the question was, how do you decide how fast or slow the robot should go? That is a little bit of a complicated question that's going to depend on a lot of factors. So the first factor in deciding how fast to run your robot is really what you're comfortable with your particular machine. I'm usually happy running my robot at either a 30 or a 40. That's where I feel comfortable with my machine running. The next one is, what kind of pattern are you stitching out? This is a fairly uncomplicated pattern. It doesn't have a lot of points in it. The curves are very smooth and open. They're not very tight. So I feel comfortable running it a little bit higher at the speed. With the thread that I'm using, it's a very standard poly cotton blend. So it's not metallic thread. It's not a silky, slippery thread. So I feel comfortable running it at a 40 as opposed to a 30. The pattern isn't super dense where it's having to do a lot of stitching very quickly. So I'm happy running it a little bit higher. Whereas if my pattern was very dense, I'd probably want to run it a little bit slower. I'm using a very thin batting as opposed to a thick batting, very double layer batting. So if I were using a higher loft in my batting, I might want to run it a little bit slower than a little bit faster. So there's a lot of factors that go into deciding how quickly you feel comfortable running your robot. It comes with experimentation, and sometimes you might start stitching out a row and decide, oh, I can go a little bit faster. Or you might start stitching out a row and you might say, oh, I need to slow this down. And all you have to do is adjust those arrows. You can do that. I want to tell you a little bit about this right here. This is our AVR. This is going to be something really important to you guys. This is an automatic voltage regulator that comes with the purchase of your Butler robot. That's for your long arm, your precision, your prism, and your paramount. This may not look like anything much, but it is a lifesaver. This is going to be something that you will plug your robotic system into and that you can plug your machine into. It is a voltage regulator, and that sounds like a surge protector, but it does just a little bit more than that. It's going to take care of any voltage surges that you may have coming into your home. It may take care of any low voltage coming into your home. It's going to keep a consistent voltage going to your electronics. It's going to keep things nice and easy. If you have a power outage, that usually comes with a jolt in your voltage. So it's going to keep any jolts in your voltage from happening. It's going to keep things safe and protected. And you're going to get one of these when you make your purchase. And the nice thing about this is not only will it take care of those things from happening, but this is also a battery backup system on the one side, and that has saved my behind more than a few times. So with the battery backup system, when it's fully charged, you get about 3 hours worth of charge on this. And this has come in handy more than one time with where I live. We have storms, we have windstorms, we have had I let my machine running one time to take the dog out, and someone hit a transformer and it caused our power to go out while my long arm was running. The battery backup in here will allow your machine and your robot to continue to run until you can safely shut everything down. So this has been a lifesaver to me. I actually have 3 of them. So you guys see my long arm. And right now I'm standing in front of my pulse setup. So I have my Q-Zone hoop frame with my domestic machine and my pulse on it with a stitch regulator. So I take up my 3 little slots because I have my machine, I have my stitch regulator, and I have my pulse plugged in so that if my power goes out, I'm feeding my 3 slots in this side to that. And then I have another one on the other side of the room where my desk is, and I have my embroidery machine combo plugged in along with my OT light. So I use these. So even if you're not buying a long arm, and even if you're not buying one of our robots, you might want to consider one of our AVRs, because these guys, you can plug your sewing machine into, your embroidery machine into, your serger into, and it might be a lifesaver for you because it will keep your power regulated and you've got your battery backup in case you're in the middle of a project and you lose some power. I do want to note this is not for you to plug your iron into, and do not plug your vacuum into that because this is not meant for that and it will cause problems, as some people have found out. So get yourself one of these guys if you need some safety for your machine, for your electronics. I love these. Okay, so we have another question. What's the question? Can you change the speed while it's moving, or while it's stitching, or does it have to be stopped? You can change the speed while it's stitching. I touch the buttons all the time. All right, guys, I'm going to turn y'all around, and I'm going to talk to the camera a second because I put my hands up and it locked me in place. So I'm going to say unlock me and see if that works, because it's got a following device on it. AI, we're talking about it today, and my camera is on AI. All right. I'm just going to undo my thread here real quick and see if I can get my camera to leave me alone. Unlock me. There we go, you guys. See, AI does what it's supposed to sometimes. All right, so we finished our row, everybody. I'm turning my stitching off, hitting my check mark. I already cycled my needle and unlocked my thread so I could move this out of the way. And you can see that we've got, let me tip you down. Our first row of quilting is all in place with our big swirls. I wish I could get you closer. I don't want to take you off the tripod yet, but I will at the end. We'll look at the whole thing. So we've got our big swirls. The center of this swirl here looks a lot like the little knots that we have here on our fabric. I think this is turning out great. So we've got row 1 in place. Now it's time to use our nesting feature. And so this is going to come with a lot of directions to follow. And this is really important that we follow our directions in the nesting feature and that we don't rush through it. And you guys, I am the most guilty person in rushing through our nesting feature and messing up. So I'm going to try to pay attention as much as I can so I don't mess up on you guys. And if you're doing this at home, just remember to take your time, follow the directions, go slow, make sure you're doing all of your steps because I mess up all the time. In our home screen, we just finished our row here. We are going to go to our nesting feature, which is over here on the right-hand side, and it looks like 2 little rows of hearts. One row, the hearts are empty. The second row, the hearts are solid. And when we open that up, we are taken to some new features on our screen. On the bottom, it says select and mark your nesting point. And then we've got a couple of things over here on the side. I'm going to just move the camera out a little bit and tip you guys down so you can see where my machine's going. Okay, so in the grand scheme of our table runner, I am about halfway right now. And I am going to select and mark my nesting point. I like to do it on a line of stitching. And I'm going to just choose this point here where the line of stitching comes down on this little circle. Let's see if I can get you a little bit lower. So I'm just following the stitching line. Now, if you want, you can use a marking tool. This is just a chalk pencil, and you can put a little mark at that point for your nesting point so that you know where that is. If you've got a chalk pencil, a marking pencil, a marking pen, anything that you're comfortable with that's going to come off of your quilt top If you're not sure, don't put it on there because this is in the middle of your quilt. I am not a marking tool person. I like to drop my needle down into my fabric. And I know this makes some people nervous. And if it makes you nervous, use a marking tool. This does not make me nervous. So I drop my needle down into my fabric. This is me selecting my nesting point. When I have my needle down in my fabric on that line of stitching, and it could be anywhere you want. It's just I am comfortable on my line of stitching somewhere in the middle of my quilt top or my table runner top. I'm going to come over here and hit my green check mark. And now my directions have changed. And it says roll the quilt. Okay, we're going to move over so you can see a side view of my machine. You're not going to see me release my rollers, but that's what I'm doing. I'm over here. I'm releasing both of my rollers, and I am going to roll the quilt as the directions just told me to do. I go nice and slow because I don't want to put any stress on that point where my needle's in my fabric. So I'm going to be careful because I don't want to stress out my fabric. And then I'm going to lock my rollers back in place. Now, let's see if I can get around the back here. I have left enough room here where the back of my machine is not touching my roller bar. But I've also made sure that there is enough room in the front here where I'll be able to stitch out my row of stitching. This is a little game that you have to play, and it comes with practice. But you will find your sweet spot, and you will learn how much room you need to leave back here, how much room you need to have here so that your nesting turns out perfect every time. It just takes a little bit of practice to gauge what you need to do. Okay, so we have rolled our quilt, and I'm going to touch the check mark on my display. The next direction says move the machine to your nesting point. Well, I dropped my needle down in my fabric, so I'm already at my nesting point. I'm there because my needle's in my fabric. I'm there. So because I'm there, I'm just going to raise that needle up. I'm not going to touch my machine. I'm not going to move it. I'm just there. If you mark this point with a marking pencil or a marking tool, you're going to want to move your machine from wherever it is and line that needle up right over that point. So if you put a little mark there, you're going to line up your needle right over that point. We're at our nesting point, so we're going to hit the check mark on our display. All right, now here's where it gets kind of fun. If you can see, here we have a row of our design in gray, and then we have a row of our design in black inside an orange layout box. The directions say move the machine to place the nested row. Now, with what I see here on the display, this is nested really nice. So if this were to stitch out like this, the rows look really good together. There's a nice spacing between what we've already stitched out and what the machine wants to stitch out. It looks good. But if you want to change that, let me show you how. You've got two options. The first option is going to be this little button down here, which is your spacing indent button. And if you touch that, it's going to give you a keypad, and you can type in how much space you would like between the rows. If I want 1 inch between my rows, I could type in a 1 and touch the check mark. And now we've got a big gap in between our rows. I can go back in there and I can type in 0, and it's going to put the rows back to the way they were. So you can use that to put spacing in between your rows. This is really helpful if maybe the quilt that you're working with, you might be putting like a row of rickrack in between the rows, and you're going to stitch that down after your rows are quilted. Or maybe you're going to apply a ruffle in between the rows of quilting once it's quilted. You can put a gap in there and you might know, oh, well, I need 2 inches so that I can stitch the ruffle down. You can quilt like that, and having that button to space out your rows, a very specific space, is very helpful. So I love that. The other way you can change the space between your nested rows is with this button here. It looks like a little cross with arrows on the ends. And when you engage that, it's going to allow you to move the handlebars of your machine, and it will move that row around. If you pull the handlebars towards you, you can see it separated those rows far apart. If I push the machine away from me, it's eventually going to overlap the rows. So pulling it towards you spaces them apart. Pushing it away from you is going to put them closer together. You can move right and left as well, and it's going to shift your row to the right or to the left, depending on what direction you're moving in. I only suggest shifting it to the right or left if you really need to. Be very careful with this because it's going to throw off your alignment going vertically. And you need to be careful because then maybe when you get down further in your quilt, you might be missing one of the edges of your quilt a lot. So just be careful when you do that. So I'm just going to make sure that we are lined back up pretty well since we mess with that a lot. And then so it doesn't continue to move as we are doing things, I'm going to turn off the feature so my row stays in place. Okay, so we like this. This looks good. We're going to touch our check mark. And now it says nesting complete very quickly across the bottom. And this is the row we're going to stitch out. So our rows are going to look really nice next to each other. They're going to be nested well, so it's going to look cohesive. It's going to look like it was meant to be. It was done all in one shot. This is the most used feature I think that I have on my robotic system because I do a lot of edge-to-edge quilting. Okay, we're in home. We've got our needle engaged. We're going to touch our green button so that we can get started. I always double check when I'm in nesting that my needle is definitely up because I do drop it down into the fabric. So my needle is up. I'm going to touch that check mark. It's going to move into place all the way down at that bottom left area of our table runner. Ooh, we did a pretty good guesstimate on the size. I'm just outside my table runner by a couple inches. That doesn't bother me. It's gonna get cut off and bound when I'm done. My directions say do a single stitch and then pull that bobbin thread up. So I want to make sure I have both of those tails. I'll touch my check mark. It's going to center back over that starting point. And this is cycle my needle to lock my stitches. Again, I do that about 3 times. And then I'm going to turn my stitching on and touch the check mark on my display. Now, because this was such a small project, I basted the whole thing down before I ever got started. But if you want to do basting down the sides of your quilt, you would just baste the sides before you got started with the quilting. So once it was nested, you could baste your sides. If you needed the baste across the bottom, you could do that. And then you would just hit your green start button and go through the series of prompts. It's really easy to do that way. So this is just going to stitch out. It went pretty quick last time, so we'll be pretty quick this time. Just going to check with Lindsay and see if there are any questions. Okay, the question is, how difficult is it to learn to use? You just saw pretty much what most people do with their long arm robotic system, and that's edge-to-edge quilting. So we set up our layout space, we added a pattern, we changed its size so that it filled in the space, and then we set it going, and then we just nested it. Now, if we were doing a big quilt like we've got here on the wall, we might have to do that nesting process 8 or 9 times, but it's the same thing over and over again. So that was pretty easy to learn. Like, that was a big lesson all at one time, but that's pretty easy. It's a very user-friendly system. You get training videos. There's a help button on the screen where you can touch the information button and another icon that's on the screen, and it'll tell you what it is. And some of those icons come with videos. So I think it's a very user-friendly, very straightforward system, and not to have a lot of problems with it. I taught myself how to use the system, and I knew nothing about long arm automation before I started working for Butler Robotics. So I think if I can do it, you can do it, because I am not a tech savvy person at all. Oh. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me take you guys off the tripod so you can see it stitching. So like I said, I'm running at a speed of 40. So it's going at a pretty fast speed for me. You know, I'm going with what I feel comfortable on my machine, with my thread, with my fabric, with my batting. Everybody's just going to be different. Nobody runs the same. Everybody's going to do what they're comfortable with. And it changes from project to project. But this is going pretty quick. I'm sorry? Ooh, that's a great question. Let me. The question was, how can we see our patterns outside of our robot screen? You can actually export PDF thumbnails of all of your patterns and then get them onto your computer or your laptop via a USB stick and then print them out. So I have a little notebook that I made of all of my designs so that I have them on paper, and I can just sit around and plan my quilts ahead of time from paper instead of standing in front of my display. Because sometimes it takes a while to pre-plan and think about what I want to do. And I don't want to be on my feet the whole time, because quilters, we know, our backs hurt, our ankles hurt, our knees hurt, our wrists hurt from standing in front of this. You know, depending on your height, you've got to have your arms up above your head a little bit to be touching the screen constantly. So being able to export all of your little PDFs of all of your patterns is so nice to have. And especially if you quilt for other people and for the public, being able to have all of your pictures available to show them, and then they can pick out what they'd like on their quilt. I love having this available, so you can do that. Okay, we are finished that quick. Let me turn you guys over so you can see. And I'm so glad I knew exactly where that little notebook was, that I didn't have to go digging around for it. Okay, so it says turn the stitching off. So I'm going to turn the stitching off and touch my check mark. And then it says cycle my needle. So I'm going to cycle my needle, and I'll hit my check mark, and then I'll just bring my bobbin thread up to the surface and clip that. And our project is done. So let me get you guys down so you can see the stitching a little bit better now that the machine's not bouncing around at you. Look at our big swirls. Okay, another question, Lindsay? All right. So the question is, where can you buy patterns and get more patterns? So the internet, of course, is full of places for you to purchase patterns. But I'm going to tell you to go to our Quilt Companion website, quiltcompanion.com, and purchase patterns from us, because we sell them now, and we have 3 wonderful designers that are making patterns and allowing us to sell them, and they are amazing. And we have over 900 patterns, I think, available to purchase with all kinds of themes. I buy off a multitude of pattern websites, but I have fallen in love with the designers that we are working with, and they have some amazing patterns. This quilt here is done with one of our designers' patterns. It's called Seaweed Swirl, and I am in love. So you can buy off of a lot of places. Just make sure that you're purchasing either a QLI or a DXF format when you do so. Any other questions, Lindsay?
Yeah, can you crop around like a name or an embroidery something?
Oh, that's a great question. So as I mentioned, I think I mentioned when we were talking about the different features on the Emerald or the Prism and the Paramount versions of our robotic system, we have a cropping feature. And Lindsay said someone wanted to know if you can crop around like a name or an embroidery or something so that you're not quilting over top of something special. Yes, we have that feature. And I actually have, I just did a Feature Friday video. I made a tote bag. Let's see if I can get close so you can see. I used our text feature and put my initials, my monogram initials on here, and then I quilted around it, but not over top of it with another pattern. So this is something that you can do with our system, which I think is so much fun to really personalize a project. So I made a tote bag, put my monogram on it, and then cropped with one of our features around that. So this could have been not just my monogrammed initials, but if I was really great at embroidering yet, which I'm not, I'm still learning, you could have an embroidery here. You could just have something really like a really beautiful piece of fabric that you didn't want to stitch over. You can crop around that so that you are not stitching over with all of your background stitching. So yes, you can do that with this. Anything else, Lindsay, or did we hit everybody's questions as we went through?
Looks like you hit everybody's questions.
Okay, so I think we hit everybody's questions. I've got one more thing to share before we go back to Blaine. Now, you guys who are longtime watchers may have seen me in January. We did a project quilt then where I did a lot of custom quilting. We did block by block and area by area. I finished that. I do finish my projects, you guys. Promise I do. Not just when it's something simple like this, but I finished this little quilt. So we did all kinds of things on this with our Butler robot. So this top section here, which has the little raccoons playing in the garden, we did edge to edge quilting in the top section. We put custom block quilting in our corners. In the white area that goes through the top and the bottom, we did point to point, and point to points available on your precision, or no, on your Prism and your Paramount. And then all of the little blocks here in the center all have individual designs that we put in them. We resize them all for the different areas. I think it turned out really sweet. This is such a little cutie. I'm so glad that it finished out nice. All of the patterns were fun, like little flowery daisy things to kind of go along with the fabric that was in here. It turned out super cute. I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm happy that I get to do projects on these shows with y'all and that they do actually get completed. I'm so glad that we got this table runner done because I'm actually going to use that one. This one will probably be donated because I like to donate a lot of my projects because I do so many. So if you're interested in a robot system for your new purchase long arm or a long arm that you've had for many, many years, don't be shy. It doesn't matter what you have, whether you've got a Gamel, an APQS, a Viking, a FOF, whether you've got a Unique, a Nolting, it doesn't matter. Let us know and we can get you a robotic system to fit. I think we need to go back to Blaine, find out what kind of specials he has available and how you can get one for yourself.
Well, Aubrey, I've got three questions for you.
Okay.
Well, maybe one question.
Okay.
So on our different quilting robotics for the long arms,
Yes.
what is the difference of the designs amount that's built in each one?
Sure. So the precision, you get 160 to start with. The prism, you get 260. And then the Paramount, you get over 500 patterns. So you get a wonderful library of patterns to start with, and then you can add as many as you like to go along. But I think it's always nice to have a good base to start with. And you get plenty of variety to start with on your models. There are lots of geometric and floral and some holiday patterns, block patterns, triangle patterns. There's just a little bit of everything on each of the models to get you started.
Okay, great. And the other question I had was, when you want to add designs, let's say I go out on that website and buy some designs, I put it on a USB stick, I can load it in to my Butler. How many of those will it hold? Because like the Paramount's already got over 500 designs in it. How many more could I actually put in there?
Thousands and thousands. There's essentially no limitation. As I said, we have a customer who has over 10,000 that she added to her system. I don't know how she's ever used that many, but you can load and load and load, and you've got unlimited space as far as we know.
Well, that was pretty much my question. So I love the idea that you print those out and put them in a notebook so you can actually have access to them really quick. Because I'm going to tell you what, I can just speak from experience at quilt shows. When I've been doing demos on the robotics, it takes some time if you're just going in there and trying to scroll through to find different ones, because there's so many. And I know you have them categorized, but man, that notebook would be a game changer. And because, I like to do, what's so awesome about robotics is I like to combine designs and do an edge to edge and do a row that has a certain design. And then I come back and go over it with another design and create something very unique. And so I think that would just be awesome to print those out and have that notebook, handy.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I have mine in the plastic pages so I can mark on them with a little marker. If I see something, I'm like, oh, this might work. I can kind of mark through my notebook and then get an idea of everything that I'd like to use on one quilt and kind of narrow it down that way. It's harder.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Great idea. Well, Aubrey, as usual, you did a fantastic job. Man, I think the Stitch Nation could probably watch you all day, sit there and make quilts. But thank you so much.
Your support. It's so great doing a show with you, Blaine. I appreciate
y'all.
I
love you coming on. Love it, love it, love it. And I know we'll have to have you on again, not too far in the future, because there's so many things that you can do with these. And I think you're just scratching the surface. And I'm glad to see that you finished your project you started with us back in January. That looked awesome. So I'm anxious to see this table runner.
I promise I'll put a binding on it.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Aubrey. Thanks, Lindsay, for interpreting all the questions. And we sure do appreciate y'all coming on. So let me tell them how they can get one, okay?
Sounds good. Bye, everybody.
All right, everybody. This was, man, what a great treat that was. Aubrey's so good at that. But we have 4 robotic systems. So let me kind of, talk a little bit about the robotic systems. And there's, we have the Paramount, we have the Prism, the Precision. Is that right, Roger? And
yes,
the Pulse. And I ought to remember these. I named the daggum things, but you know how it is. Sometimes You got so many things swimming around your head. But each one of those, like we said, the 3 long arm ones, are the difference between them is the designs that are in and some of the features. Now, the Paramount is the top of the line. It has all the features that you could ever dream to have in a, a robotic system. And, my favorite feature, and I was going to ask Aubrey that, and I forgot to ask her what her favorite feature, but my favorite feature has always been that record feature on it. It has a record feature. So like if you have a friend that you've been envious of how good they do a certain thing freehand, like if they do feathers. I know some people out there can do feathers that are just very unique and look awesome. And you want that. But you can't have them at your quilting. You're in your quilting room every single day at your machine doing feathers on a thing. They could come and just do one feather on a scrap or whatever you wanted to do. And you can record that and then save it as a design, and it would be in your machine forever. So you could pull that up and just duplicate that on a quilt. So that's what's awesome about, that feature. And then we have that Pulse, which is made for your home machine. And I think, Aubrey even talked about, Grace. We sell the Grace frames that we have the Cutie Breeze that sits on the tabletop that you could put your, home machine on it. And you can put that Pulse on it and actually have you a quilting machine with robotics on it on your tabletop. So that's what's awesome about all these robotic systems we have. But Roger, if you could start putting them up on the screen, and we'll tell everybody what the specials. Now, this is the top of the line. This is the Paramount edition. It is $6,299. And what we're doing with all these today, we're going to throw in that free battery backup for it. It's called the Easy Shield, and we're going to throw that in absolutely free with it. And we have these, they'll pretty much fit any quilting, long arm quilting machine out there that's ever been made. These robotics will fit on there. We just have to know what machine you have, and then we can make sure we have the right brackets and stuff that you can bolt it on your machine and your frame. So $62.99 for that. Again, give us a call if you have any questions on it, 888-571-2171. The next one in the lineup is that Prism. Now, it's $56.99. Oh, and let me kind of also tell you, the Paramount has the 12-inch screen. When you drop down to the Prism, again, it has over 300 designs in it, and it has the 10-inch screen on it. So just you're dropping down a little bit, but $5,600 for this, and you're getting the Easy Shield absolutely free with it for that battery backup. The next one is the Precision, and the Precision Edition, again, it has the 8-inch screen on it, so you're getting a little bit smaller display, and you're getting less designs that are built in, but $43.60 on this one. And it has a ton of features built into all 3 of these. They're just fantastic. But $43.60 on that one. And then the Pulse is the one. This is for your home machine. Again, it has that 8-inch display on it. $19.99. You're going to get the free battery backup on it. And all 4 of these, man, I can't say enough about them. Really good robotics out there. And if you started shopping for robotics, I can tell you with confidence, you're not going to find any robotic systems out there that have many more features, and most of them are going to be doubled in price. So that's the biggest difference with these. Man, I tell you what, Butler's been around. Quilt Easy's been around making the Butler Robotics for many, many years, and we're super happy to have these. All 4 of these are exclusive to Stitch It International and the Stitch Nation, and you're not going to find this exact group with any other dealer out there. So we're super excited with our partnership with Quilt Easy and the Butler Robotics. So if y'all have any questions about any of those, get on that phone and give us a call, 888-571-2171. You can ask for Lacey. Lacey will take your call, and she can answer your questions for you, and we'll get you fixed up. Last but not least is that Easy Shield. And here's the thing about the Easy Shield. You don't have to have just the Butler Robotics for a need with this. If you've got sewing machines in your room right now, you have any kind of, I would say computer machines, any kind of computer sewing machine, embroidery machine, anything like that, this is going to be perfect for it. Because when you have what they call brownouts is not when the electricity goes out. It's when there's a really drop in the voltage that's being produced. And what it does, it causes electronics. It wreaks havoc on electronics. It causes a lot of electronics to crash. It really messes them up. And I can tell you from personal experience, I had a laptop computer that I had plugged in the wall, wasn't on its, wasn't freestanding. And we had a brownout. Basically, the voltage drop. Not only did it mess my laptop up, it messed my refrigerator up. And so those things can happen. And this is going to prevent that. That's the great thing about that. That's why surge protection is so important. But what I also love about these is that battery backup. So if you're right in the middle of a design and your electricity goes out or anything like that, you're not going to be able to, lose your design. It's just going to keep going. It's going to keep going by itself. And then you have time to stop and save and shut it down properly. But again, Aubrey talked about these things. Well, when they're fully charged, they have 3 hours of power. I normally don't like to say they have that much battery life on them. I would say, most machines that you had plugged into this, you're going to get, a really good safe hour of quilting or embroidering out of it, and then you can shut it down. But what that's made for basically is to give you that opportunity. But so if you don't have one of these on your equipment right now, as much money as y'all invest in all your sewing and embroidery and quilting things, this to me is just a must-have for your sewing room. And right now they're $195. Get on that phone and call Lacey. We do have a call-in special on this right now. So get on that phone and give her a call. And like I said, on the other 4 robotic systems, we're going to throw this in for free if you buy one of those. So Roger, did you learn anything?
Oh, Blaine, I'm always learning something.
I do too. Every show I watch all these experts and I'm like, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Aubrey's such a great presenter and a wealth of information. It's a lot, and I love the way she teaches also. It's very I can comprehend it very easily.
Well, you and I are we've been around this for a long time, but we're also amateurs at it too. Mm-hmm. It's like, we don't do it to the level of even the Stitch Nation out there sewing and things. And, and I got pretty good at doing things like that when I had a lot of trade shows I went to. But then when you don't do as many trade shows, you kind of forget a lot of things. But Aubrey's one of those type of instructors that, people that are not around it a lot, I understood everything she did. And it made so much sense to me how she was doing it.
Yes.
And that to me is what, kind of highlights a great educator is they can make people that are a novice understand.
Yes. And if anyone out there is like me, I'm more of a visual learner. So to have somebody go step by step and give me all the information I need, it's beneficial to me. So
well, the nesting feature, most people hear when they hear nesting, you don't think about what that term actually means. Mm-hmm. And in their situation with the Butler, nesting is basically the home, going back and it's giving those two, edge-to-edge designs, the distance between them, kind of a starting point. Mm-hmm. But nesting in the embroidery world or in sewing world, a lot of times people will hear the nesting, they're thinking about the tension being off and it's nesting the thread underneath the fabric. And but 2 totally different things. So that is not what we're talking about. This is that just to make sure you can get those 2 different designs on the edge to edge automatically positioned really easy. And you saw that as she moved that machine, that design moved back and forth closer to the other one, and you can get it right where you want it. So that's a really cool feature. Mm-hmm. So, all righty. Is it anybody got any questions out there about anything right now? Roger, if you could take a look at that and see if anybody's got any questions. And I think it's time to give some stuff away here.
Yeah. No questions. I think we could just go to the giveaways.
All right. Fantastic. All right. So the first thing, Roger, let's give away one of our tote bags.
Okay.
And what we're going to do today is just let you pick which one you want. We got 3 different colors. We have a black one, which is the biggest, the large one. And then we have 2 medium-sized ones, which are the blue and the red. And we're going to let you pick which one you want, which logo you want. And naturally, we have those logos that Dawn Chase from Creative Applique donated to us and is providing. One is that crazy sewing lady logo that everybody loves. And then the other one is the coffee or the sewing coffee and chocolates all I need logo. So you can pick which one of those logos you want. And anyway, Roger, get that wheel ready to go and let's spin and get us the winner.
All right. Good luck, everybody. And we're spinning. Arlene Bordeaux. Congratulations, Arlene.
Congratulations, Arlene, watching today from Facebook. So Arlene, send us an email to stitchitintl. And I'm sorry, info. I'll get it here in a minute. Send us an email to info@stitchitintl.com and let us know your shipping address. Let us know what color of the tote bag you want, which one, and then which design you want on it. And we'll get that all embroidered up and get it sent out to you. All right, Roger, next up, let's give a vest away. And what we're going to do, let's just go through all the colors. What we're going to do today, we're going to let you pick which color you want and which logo you want. So there's the Sewing Coffee and Chocolate logo. And you can also pick a, if you wanted to pick the Crazy Sewing Lady logo, you can put on there. But there we have the gray, we have the white, we have the royal blue one, we have the black, and that is the navy blue. So I think that's all of them in it, Roger.
Mm-hmm.
So navy blue, royal blue, the slate gray, the black, and the white. So we'll let you pick which one you want. So Roger, spin that wheel.
Spinning. Good luck, everyone.
We have some spinning music.
Yes. Stitching Daisy. Congratulations.
So Stitching Daisy is watching today from YouTube. And so here's the drill. You got to send us an email to info@stitchitintl.com. Roger's rolling it across the bottom of the screen there. And let us know your full shipping address, your full name, phone number, all that good stuff. And then also let us know which vest you want, which color, what logo you want, and then most importantly, what size. And the sizes are going to be from small through 3X in women's sizes. So there we go. Roger, next up, let's give away a jean jacket. So there we go. We got a jean jacket. And again, these were limited in sizes. So we do have women's medium, women's large, and women's extra large. If you need a bigger size than the women's extra large, we do have some men's sizes in these as well. We can, like an extra large in men's is going to be a lot bigger than a women's extra large. So we could do that. If we don't have your size and you want something else, we'll trade it for a vest or a puffy jacket or something. We'll get you fixed up. Just email me, and if we don't have your size, we'll let you know. So anyway, Roger, spin that wheel.
All righty. Good luck, everyone. Our winner is Angela Dixon. Congratulations, Angela.
Angela's watching today from YouTube, so congratulations, Angela. Now to claim that prize, again, just send us an email, Angela, to info@stitchitintl.com, and just let us know your full shipping address, full name, shipping address, phone number, all that good stuff, and then let us know what size of jacket you want, and we'll take it from there. And what logo you want on the back? Do you want the Crazy Sewing Lady or the Sewing Coffee and Chocolate? So Roger, another good show.
Yes, very good show.
So yeah, I really enjoyed that today. I tell you, anytime you have a good educator that just kind of you learn a little bit of stuff, it's pretty awesome. And thank the Stitch Nation again for showing up and coming here and spend some time with us today. We sure do appreciate y'all's support.
Thank you.
If you haven't, liked our Facebook page, even if you're watching on YouTube, go like our Facebook page. Go join our Stitch Nation group. I think we got about 50 people in there already, Roger, that's already joined the group. Go join the Stitch Nation private group on Facebook. And then also go and like our SWF USA Facebook page and join that group, because we're sharing a lot of things in there about embroidery and things. So with that going on, and if you haven't, subscribe to our YouTube channel, we would sure appreciate you subscribing. A lot of people watch and they're not subscribed, but hey, it's really easy and it's free. Absolutely free, isn't it, Roger?
You can't beat that.
Can't beat it.
And we appreciate it.
We do. And you know what? It helps us, those algorithms they do out there, the more people that watch, the more things that happen. And, we're hoping we get to that point where we can start monetizing, where they pay us a little bit of extra money with so many people watch, and it helps us. That goes into our prize pool, and we just buy more prizes to give away.
Giveaways.
So, but I got to say, shout out there. Got to say a big shout out to Don Chase for giving us the logos. We got to say a big shout out to Sanmar out there, Blank Company, that's helping us with all of our swag stuff that we're doing with the jackets and all that kind of stuff. So, great shout out. So if y'all need blanks, go check out sanmar.com. That's where they have a lot of blanks that you can get for different projects and do embroidery and things. So anyway, that's we appreciate them helping us, and we appreciate y'all. So again, I hope that y'all have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and come and see Roger and I next Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Central.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
you.